Hello, friends. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm your host, Zen Garcia.
I'm your host, Zen Garcia. This is Secrets Revealed here on Truth Frequency Radio. As always, we thank all of you for joining us in live broadcast. It's a great honor to be here in fellowship with you, and I'm excited to have and announce the release of Filmmaker's Journey. My good friend and co-host Rob Skiba has put out a three-part series. You should definitely check it out, and it's fantastic. It concludes with the actual release of episode 1 of the Seed Project, which is incredible and one that I think everybody will be thrilled and excited to view. Rob, are you there, brother? Rob? Oh, hold on. Let me add him again. Maybe he did not make it. Hold on just a second, everybody. Calling again. Hmm. Maybe Rob forgot that we were on today. That would be an interesting scenario. But, anyways, if you have not seen, he's put out a whole production on the beginning as far as the concept, his journey to Arizona to kind of check in with the Most High and also to be led, divinely inspired into plot and the whole screenplay and the details of how he could, have what is true and in reality be the backdrop for the story. And so after this journey, he returned home and was able to um, write down 72 episodes of what is a 6 season, 12, 12 episodes per season screenplay. And I mean, that's quite an amazing feat and accomplishment. I do hope that Rob is able to join us this evening because otherwise I'll have to, pull something out of there with regard to um, show. But hold on just a second. But if I have to, I'm thinking of what I could read from or share from. But in the meantime, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the cryptocurrencies and that particular platform and space. And for those of you that have followed the work that we've been doing and the shows that we've been doing, um, you, for those of you that are and do have a pulse on the market, you'll see that um, even though Bitcoin has been kind of consolidating between 60 and 50,000, the altcoin markets and the other blue chip cryptocurrencies have really gathered steam, and there's been a huge amount of money enter into the market in support of these projects. There's electronically traded funds on the Canadian market, and those some that are getting started here in the American markets. Um, Hold on just a second, everybody. All right. So, anyways, the ETFs are starting to appear and here in America and get approval, and we see that Grayscale is also buying not Bitcoin but other coins, and has opened up funds for their institutional investors to purchase and to get into some of these alternative coins. And so there has been a great fluctuation, an increasing, like for instance, last year we were at a $1 trillion market cap, and this year we find ourselves now at 2,062,000,000. And this has been just since December of this past year that the market cap has literally doubled, and the prices of many coins have increased exponentially. And in the interim, just I think it was January or February, when I first discovered what is the new Binance Smart Chain. I'm sure many of you have heard about this now, that it was an alternative to what was the Ethereum network and the gas prices that everybody had to pay to interact with decentralized uh, financial platforms like Uniswap, SushiSwap, and others, that in order to exchange Ethereum for different coins or other coins for other coins, that you would have to pay these really inflated prices. I mean, like $30 to $50, sometimes $100 just to get your trade processed. Well, the Binance Smart Chain came out and has made quickly those fees pennies on the dollar, and also has also made it to where you can provide liquidity the way that a lot of people had done on Uniswap and SushiSwap and other places on the Ethereum network, and to earn free coins and also high yield. And so this has been what's been happening on places like PancakeSwap, which has now taken over the whole, as far as the decentralized finance, and the market cap, that there's more transactions now happening on PancakeSwap and more money being exchanged and coins being exchanged on the Binance Smart Chain than anywhere else on any other network. And because of this, the native token Cake has gone up in price from the time that I got in. It was $1.40, and I also had sent out emails to all the people that were on our cryptocurrency listserv and told them about it. And I know that a lot of people didn't understand how to set up their MetaMask for the BSC network so that they could interact with PancakeSwap. And because of that, it was a deterrence to them. But those of you that did persevere and that learned how to do it, and that had your stuff set up and did get involved. And I have heard from listeners as to their getting in. You've greatly benefited, and it's been amazing to see the price and the value of not only Cake, but also the BNB token and other, other what are called DEXs, decentralized exchanges, that their coins have increased in value exponentially. And it's my opinion that this movement will only continue, and that as long as Ethereum has problems implementing their layer 2 solutions, even though there are like Matic and others that do decrease the Ethereum gas fees, but the network as a whole, which a lot of people still not using Polygon, which is Matic, or these other bridges, or other exchanges, even like Cardano is now mainnet and has a lot of stuff being built on it. But for the most part, people are migrating over to the Binance Smart Chain. And there is a great flood of not just people, but money also leaving the Ethereum network and moving over to the Binance Smart Chain. And because of this, the prices of the coins that are affiliated, and I'll name a few this evening, um, and also for those of you that are not wanting to hear about cryptocurrencies or this particular topic, I'll do something different for second hour. But for those of you that do want to know and are interested, I think the information I'm going to provide and speak about, just kind of off the top of my head, will really be beneficial for you. And if you look into what I'm talking about, yeah, I think that this movement of the increase and the price acceleration um, is only really beginning. That even though, yes, PancakeSwap has overtaken Uniswap in market cap, um, the it's still in growth at at the beginning of the race, so to speak. And so what I'm speaking about as far as the price increases that we see now, PancakeSwap is hitting all-time highs and daily increasing in value, which is quite amazing. And so I'll tell you how much it's actually worth right now. It was just recently, down 29, the number 29, number 30, around there in the list of 100 top 100 cryptocurrencies, and it is now ranked number 23, which it's at $41.62 a token. It's increased 9.74% just today, and it's increased 65.94% over 7 days. I mean, a 70% increase over seven days. That's pretty astounding. I mean, pretty amazing for those of you that, again, are involved in taking advantage of this migration to the Binance Smart Chain network. As far as Uniswap, it has also grown. Uniswap, for those that don't know, is the number one decentralized exchange on the Ethereum network. And while it is down 5.53% today, it is also up 21% over the last 7 days and is at $40.31 a token. And so the value of the token, both of them are, at $40 each. The total market cap is $21 billion for Uniswap. And for PancakeSwap, it is $6 billion, even though they are doing more transactions and have more money locked in, TVL, total value locked in. And so, that's right now, PancakeSwap is being assessed at what's 40? So it's 6 times less than Uniswap. And I'll tell you of some other coins that are also associated to the BSC network. And just so you can get an idea, and also these are platforms that you might want to check out as well, because they are also associated. One is called, oh, I need to click on my watch list here. And then I'll also talk about the overall reasons why we see Bitcoin trailing down a little bit while these other coins are increasing and gaining in value. There's one that's called Kebab Token, which you can find Kebab Swap, also working with the Binance Smart Chain. It's only $1.79 a token, and it's up 13.49% today. Another one is called Cafe Swap, BREW, and that coin is up 33.92% over 7 days and up 30.36% just today. I mean, that's pretty remarkable. There's others. I just got to go up on the list and I can talk to you about them. Auto Farm is also up, which is another high yield platform. It's up 53% in 7 days, 36% over today, just today. I mean, can you imagine just getting into this yesterday and having your money up 36%? There's another token called AnySwap, which it's a platform that actually allows you to transact with Ethereum, with the Binance Smart Chain, with the Fathom network, and others. So it allows you to, basically use whatever network you'd like. It's up 70% in 7 days and has doubled its value today. It's up 100%, which is $4.27 a token. And this is something that I told people about. I sent out an email about it, and those that would like to read all my previous emails that I sent out to the groups, you can find them on our Discord channel in the Cryptos for Ding Dongs and Crypto Speak tab at Sacred Word Publishing, our Discord group. You can find all of the emails that I sent going back to December 16th, which is when we actually started the group. And that was the first show of this particular series. And it was also the night that Bitcoin broke $20,000 and set an all-time high. And of course, since that time, Bitcoin's gone from 20,000 to 65,000, and a lot of these other coins and things that I've been speaking about, which have to, tell you I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. I'm only sharing things that I've learned from reviewing this space and interacting with it since 2017, when my cousin and my uncle actually told me about Bitcoin for the first time, and then I started to learn about cryptocurrencies. But again, I do believe the Binance Smart Chain will continue to grow, and that these DEXs, these decentralized exchanges, which they also provide high yield. You can go there and provide liquidity with the Binance coin and other coins, and actually earns 400 to 600%. And I'm talking about on your Ethereum and on your Polkadot, which, and I know from experience because I've looked at trying to gain, yield on these particular coins, that at one point just a few months ago, you could only get 6% interest, and that was holding it in a Celsius wallet, that most platforms did not provide you any interest at all for holding Ethereum and DOT and most cryptocurrencies. At that time, there was only Coinbase, and they were only offering yield on 3 tokens. One was called Cosmos, Atom, ATOM, which offered 5% interest. Another was Tezos, XY XYZ is the symbol, I believe. And this one offered 4.53% interest. And then another one that was just recently released on, well, it's been a few months now, in which I did recommend people get into. It was 20 cent a token at the time, was Algorand, ALGO, and it was offering 6% interest. And so those were the three coins that you could hold on um, on Coinbase and actually gain interest. But then once I learned about Celsius, the Celsius wallet, and how much interest you could earn by holding your crypto in that wallet, I did at that time advise and tell people about that particular crypto wallet and how much interest you could earn. And it was just a matter of, sending your cryptocurrency from your Coinbase account into your Celsius wallet. And the other thing that I had encouraged people to get involved with cryptocurrencies and the cryptocurrency space is that, holding money in your bank accounts, you're basically paying because there are negative interest rates or, less than 1% interest in the savings account. And that's if you have a high yield savings account, which they call 1 or 2% high yield. It's utterly ridiculous. But anyways, you're giving the banks the privilege of charging you to hold your money, and then they're able to use your money to loan it out to other people to get even higher interest. And so it's a win-win for them. And all I was encouraging people to do was to take back their not only their earning potential, but also their purchasing power, and to use your money and your savings to earn interest for yourself and not for the banks. And so that's why I spoke about, putting it in crypto, which you can get stable coins that don't fluctuate with the markets, like DAI or USDC or USDT, which is a Tether. And these coins are stable. They are maintained at $1 a coin. And so they don't fluctuate, they don't go up, they don't go down, doesn't matter what the market does. And you can earn 13% interest just by having your money in stable coins. And so why not? 13% interest at that time was really high yield. But now, with the onset of, the Binance Smart Chain and Pancake Swap, Bunny Swap, which is another one of my favorite. It's affiliated with the Binance Smart Chain. This particular coin, Bunny, is right now 443 cents a coin. And it was literally $9 a coin when I first checked out the platform and began to tell people, you might want to, check this out. And I wrote about the Binance Smart Chain. I wrote about yield, and I wrote about the reasons why, I was exploring these platforms and how I felt that there was going to be a movement of money away from the Ethereum network into, again, this particular BSC network. And that's exactly what has happened. And now you see other people also writing articles about it. Videos are being made about it. And they are still encouraging, even now at these really inflated prices, for people to come over. And so you guys that have listened to me, you were the very early adopters, but still people have opportunity to, join this movement and to benefit from it. And so Pancake Bunny is $443 a token. It increased 2.16% today and has increased 28% 0.87% over the week. I'll tell you about one other, even though I'm not involved in this platform. Spartan Protocol. The coin name is Sparta. It increased 42% today. It's $1.86 a token. It has over the last 7 days increased 92.19%. There's another one, Beefy.finance, BIFI, which I'm not involved in this one because the token is too expensive, but I'll cover a little bit more when I return, and then we'll go into something else. Be right back, everyone.
In a world where we are ridiculed for questioning mainstream narrative, it can feel like we are studying alone. So together with you, Sacred Word Publishing classes has begun. Are you interested in Biblical Hebrew, the Enochian calendar, extra biblical texts, or other esoteric topics? Join any class for free. Or do you have research you'd like to share with fellow truth seekers? We'd love to help you set up a class. As students, we also have an opportunity to be teachers, and whichever role you're settled into today, we'll be happy to study with you at swpclass.com. Email us at sacredwordpublishingllc@gmail.com with your class ideas, and we look forward to learning with you. See you in class!
As a bookstore for truth seekers, it's our goal to make ancient manuscripts which were once held captive by secretive institutions available for public consideration. In our generation, where wisdom has increased, as Daniel the prophet foretold, we have access to many of the testimonies our early church brethren were persecuted for preserving. After being hidden for centuries, these manuscripts have been leaked from various sources throughout the earth, and it's our goal to gather these sources into printable form to make available for all who seek the ancient way. If you're looking to deepen your studies of the biblical narrative, find these ancient manuscripts and more at sacredwordpublishing.com.
With commerce being monopolized by major corporations, we feel a responsibility to return to handmade goods and to support individuals in the community. Sacred Word Publishing wants to encourage truth seekers to support each other, and one of the best ways we can do that is through offering this centralized marketplace where everyone's homemade products can be easily accessed by our fellow members in the body of Christ. Would you be interested in offering your handcrafted items in our store? Email us at sacredwordpublishingllc@gmail.com. Support the truth-seeking community by going to www.swpmarket.com.
Your partnership with Sacred Word Publishing goes further than the publishing of ancient manuscripts and weekly video content.
You also make a huge impact across the earth in orphanages in Myanmar, India, Uganda, and Kenya.
Your support is crucial for the development of the ecclesia of real truth seekers.
We thank you for joining us in hosting Secrets Revealed, Momentary Zen, the Digital Readers Club, Ask Me Anything series, and other shows that have helped lead so many to the truth of salvation.
To become even more involved, please visit patreon.com/sacredwordpublishing, where you can partake in exclusive, interactive, patron-only content and help us continue shining the light of love in this darkened world.
All right, welcome back, everybody, for a second portion. I'm just going to cover a little bit more, and then I think I'll go into some current events as far as with SWP and with my children and what we're doing and what we are involved in, because there's a lot of book projects coming up. And I did notice that in the chat room, people are speaking about the biblical cosmology. And so I've got some really exciting news in regards to that particular topic. There's actually, I'll go ahead and release this. There's a number of books which we are going to be releasing, that one of the ladies, our good friend CJ Austin, which works with us to format books, she has been working on a number of different manuscripts and actually has finalized 3 of them. And some of these books have been ones that people have been asking for and looking for. And so I'll go ahead and mention what they are, just to, pique your interest. But we are working on the new covers and the new finalizing the formats, and then we will be releasing these manuscripts. But one of them is Earth, Not a Globe. Another one is The Universe as It Is, which this is a book that was written by the author of Kings Dethroned. It was the second book, and these, none of these that I'm mentioning now are actually in publication, and so they're going to be brought back into print for the first time in 100 years or so. And so then there is another Gleanings from the Past, the Earliest Cosmologies, and the Book of Light, and the History of the Planets. And so a lot of really interesting books, a lot of very interesting material, and something to, really introduce the thought and the knowledge of the writers and the historians, of a century ago, because they were quite knowledgeable about biblical cosmology and the consideration of it, because it was being contested at that time. And it's only because of our acceptance and embrace of heliocentrism that nobody even second guesses or even contemplates anything outside of the lies that we've been told, which, establish a false reality. Because, and for those of you that still believe that we live in a solar system, well, it's without a doubt that there's no curvature to the earth, and that water cannot take on a curved form. Water will always settle, and it has to be pulled. It has to be gathered in a pool, in a basin, and contained on all sides, or it leaks out. And water will always settle in a level. These are physics, physics 101. There's no questioning. And then the other thing is that the earth is not moving faster than the speed of sound, which is what science wants you to believe right now, that the earth is moving at 1,037.541666667 miles per hour, which again is faster than the speed of sound and faster than a bullet shot from a .45 pistol. .45 caliber pistol. I mean, that's how insane the scientism is behind um, the heliocentric worldview. And so, anyways, this is some new material. We've already, for those that don't know, we've already have a lot of books that have not been printed for over 100 years. There's many flat Earth books and biblical cosmology books that you can find at our website, sacredwordpublishing.com, which again, if you've not considered this question, not looked into it, without a doubt, again, the cosmology that we've been told about and indoctrinated into is a lie. I know that the people that listen to this for the crypto content are really going to be shocked when they hear that particular that whole tirade. Okay, anyways, I'm going to go back to what I was speaking about before. Let me go back into this for just a little bit. Like I said, I'll go into a different topic on second hour. But since I have this time and, my schedule is booked out till November. And so I don't have a lot of times to do shows for myself and to cover topics that I'd like to cover. I'm going to continue with this because if you listen to me and if you check out what I'm talking about, you could really benefit. Like, in fact, we just did a patron only AMA, Ask Me Anything, this past Tuesday. And one of the callers that was calling in and asking questions, well, they wanted to know more about cryptocurrencies and the Binance Smart Chain and Cake and Bunny and these other platforms that I had talked about in the emails that I sent out to the Cryptos for Ding Dongs group. And one of the individuals told me that he actually listened to me and got into Cake when it was $6 a coin. And he now has accumulated over 1,000 Cake tokens, which at that time was only worth $6,000. That investment that he made back then is now worth $42,000. And so imagine turning $6,000 into $42,000. That's what, 7 times your money? Yeah, 7 times 6 is 42. So increasing your money by 7 times. And not only that, but he still has his Cake earning interest for him every day. And he gets more Cake because, for those that don't know, if you have your Cake staked, even just in PancakeSwap, PancakeSwap is paying you, let me pull it up just to be sure of the actual numbers. But PancakeSwap itself is, if you pair the coin Cake with BNB, which is the Binance coin, then you can make, and Cake is right now at $41.89 a coin. I'm not sure if that's a new all-time high, but you can earn 79.43% interest. And the multiplier is at 40 times. So, they're at every block, the rewards for staking Cake and BNB is not only 79%, but also at a 40 times multiplier. You can just, if you have just Cake itself, and you put it into a pool, in one of the pools, you can earn 91% interest just on your cake. And so he has his cake staked there on, I don't know if it's on the Binance Smart Chain, I mean on Pancake Swap, but he's earning high interest. I personally have mine on what is called Pancake Bunny. And Pancake Bunny is a different platform which is um, affiliated with the Binance Smart Chain and Binance itself. And but it pays a really high APY. It pays 238% interest for your liquidity tokens if you have Cake and BNB. It also pays higher if you have your BNB with Bunny, which is the native token of the platform. It actually pays 283%. And the yield that you are earning, you get paid in both Cake and Bunny. And so you're earning two coins which have really increased in value since January. In January, I believe Cake was $1, like I said, $1, $2 a coin, and Bunny at that time was, less than $5. And so both of these coins, because of the huge migration to the Binance Smart Chain and the massive amounts of people that are investing to get this high yield, uh, all these people have benefited from the increase in the value of these coins. And even though they are inflated and have reached, really all-time highs, I think, it's gonna increase more. And I know that it's contrary for anybody, and I'm not advising, and this is not financial advice, but I personally, if I do invest in a coin, I always try to get it on a red day and when it corrects. And certainly now is not the time to FOMO into these coins. And when I say FOMO, I mean fear of missing out, which is what a lot of people do when they're chasing gains. And so I would recommend for a correction or a retracement at least. And then if you are interested in these projects, to perhaps dollar cost average in, and then every month to just, buy a little bit more. And over time, your investment, will dollar cost average. But, again, I think that just as I feel the journey for Bitcoin and all of the cryptocurrency markets is just now really beginning, I think most certainly well, can't say certainly, but I feel confident. I'll just put it that way. I feel confident that Cake and Bunny and another one is called ApeSwap, which is a decentralized finance exchange. This coin, when I first also spoke about it and sent emails out about it, it was like 70 cents. And now this coin it hit $6 a token today. It's settled, I think it's like $5.80 something. But I mean, it's, even then, this particular token, and in the first show that I did on the Cryptos for Ding Dongs class, where I showed people how to, and I do, recommend you check out that video. You can look for it, Cryptos for Ding Dongs Class 1. In that show, I explained how people could hook up their MetaMask wallets to interact with the Binance Smart Chain, and how they could start earning yield by getting putting some money into not only PancakeSwap, but I also spoke about ApeSwap, and I spoke about these other platforms that I'm speaking about tonight. And this was, several months ago. And if, those of you that did listen, and I know you've greatly benefited, but again, I still think that the journey is early, for all of this that I'm talking about, and that there's still gains to be had and benefits to receive from getting involved in what I'm talking about. And so, you know, I do hope that those of you that can will check it out, will examine it, and perhaps get involved. Because if you do, you don't have to worry about the fluctuations in the market. You're going to gain every morning when you wake up while you're sleeping. You're going to earn interest, and you're going to get paid out in tokens from these different platforms. If you're in ApeSwap, you're going to get paid out in banana tokens, which I know it sounds crazy, all of these tokens that I'm speaking about. You get cake tokens, you get bunny tokens, you get banana tokens. There's another one called Bakery Swap where you get baked tokens, and it went up 80% yesterday. I don't know how much has gone up today, but it almost doubled in price just yesterday. And the Cafe Swap is a brew token. And I know all these names are just kind of funny, and anybody that doesn't know what I'm talking about and you're listening to me, I probably sound crazy. But, again, I didn't choose to name them, and to have these platforms be named what they are. But I don't care what they're named if they're going to provide you interest in the amount that you can earn from being involved in these projects. And you see that the rise in the value of each one of these tokens is because people are recognizing the potential and the opportunity that lies before them in pairing up and earning interest at these different websites. And because they now have reputation and have been acknowledged as being platforms that can be trusted, some of them are, also certified by Hackin and Certic and these other companies that actually read through the code and make sure that, there's not going to be a rug pull, which there have been. Like, for instance, there was a website called HoneySwap that opened up and took everybody's liquidity. Once they reached several $1,000,000 in liquidity, they took all the liquidity out and took off and disappeared. And that's something you have to be weary about and you have to be careful of. But, again, the websites that I'm talking about have been going for quite a while now, and especially with PancakeSwap and Pancake Bunny, these two websites are directly linked to the Binance exchange. And the Binance exchange and their reputation is supporting, and they are openly collaborating with these two websites. And so that should give people an amount of confidence that if you are putting your money into those websites in order to earn yield by providing liquidity, that you can trust your money will be there the next day and that you can remove it at any time. That's another thing that, some of the other networks, they want you to stake for long periods of time. And I don't like doing that. I like to be able to remove my liquidity anytime that I want. And you should have that choice. You shouldn't have to maintain it or hold it into a contract for years in order to gain yield. And that's another benefit of Pancake Swap. Like for instance, the WISE token, HEX token, and Axion token, they want you to stake for 5 years, 3 years, or 2 years, and you do make well for doing that. But that's just, you never know what's going to happen in 2 years, and so you shouldn't have to make that kind of a commitment with your money. And especially what happens if you have some kind of financial difficulty, or if a person gets sick or injured in your family and you need to withdraw your money in order to cash it out so that you can help out with whatever situation. You want to be able to get it and to make it to liquidate it immediately so that you can deal with whatever circumstance may have arisen. And so, again, you don't want to have these long-term commitments. And so that's another thing that is beneficial about these particular platforms. But again, as far as the Binance coin itself, let's see, it was January 31st that the coin, Binance coin, was $44. It opened at $44.38. And that day, it went to $75 and hit, a high. And the very next week, it went to $148. The following week thereafter, it went to $347. Then it came down to $296 and has been increasing since. On March 4th or April 4th, it went to $528. And now we see that, Binance, the coin is $596, is about to break 600, settle above 600. And I think, that it's got a big potential to break $1,000 a coin at some point. But $638 is the high. And so definitely I think we'll be breaking that at some point very soon. And so just something to consider, for those of you that are in crypto, and even those of you that are not. If you want to learn about what I'm talking about and you're interested in getting involved, certainly you can email us, but I would ask you to just search. If you have a question, you can search on YouTube, do it yourself, or how-to videos. They're all out there, and they explain precisely what you need to do in order to connect, to open up your wallets, to connect to the exchanges, the websites, and to start being involved and start earning this interest. Because, why, especially if you're going to be in crypto, why just hold it in a wallet where you're not earning anything on it? I know a lot of people want to have their crypto on in cold storage, on a Trezor wallet, or, something of that nature. And yeah, I think that's a good idea. But, there was a story not long ago about an individual who lost his passwords, couldn't remember his private keys, and had millions of dollars locked in cryptocurrency on this wallet that he couldn't access. And oh, that's got to be a horrible feeling. And I understand, you know, my first wallet back in the day, I lost the keys to, and so I understand exactly what he's going through. All right, we'll be right back, everybody, and then we'll go into some other topics.
In a world where we are ridiculed for questioning mainstream narrative, it can feel like we are studying alone. So together with you, Sacred Word Publishing classes has begun. Are you interested in Biblical Hebrew, the Enochian calendar, extra biblical texts, or other esoteric topics? Join any class for free. Or do you have research you'd like to share with fellow truth seekers? We'd love to help you set up a class. As students, we also have an opportunity to be teachers, and whichever role you're settled into today, we'll be happy to study with you at swpclass.com. Email us at sacredwordpublishingllc@gmail.com with your class ideas, and we look forward to learning with you. See you in class!
As a bookstore for truth seekers, it's our goal to make ancient manuscripts which were once held captive by secretive institutions available for public consideration. In our generation, where wisdom has increased as Daniel the prophet foretold, we have access to many of the testimonies our early church brethren were persecuted for preserving. After being hidden for centuries, these manuscripts have been leaked from various sources throughout the earth, and it's our goal to gather these sources into printable form to make available for all who seek the ancient way. If you're looking to deepen your studies of the biblical narrative, find these ancient manuscripts and more at sacredwordpublishing.com.
All right, welcome back, everybody, for a second hour. And I do appreciate, you guys bearing with me and taking the time to listen to me, and I've got a fantastic treat for you. I was thinking about, and I read a comment in the chat room, which let me get to that first, because I was thinking about, well, what could I do that would be unique, that would be interesting, and that would bless the listening audience. Um, and so we had a sister talk about, let me see if I can find it. Um, just asking, saying that I understand and am very interested in the crypto stuff, but would like to hear some scripture, anything, because she wants to, be and to study and to share the inspired word. And so I get you. I'm with you. And so I'm going to give the listening audience an incredible treat tonight. I'm going to share something with you that most of you have probably not heard about, and especially if you're not a follower of my work. And this is from the Thracian Chronicles, and it's um, for those that don't know, the Thracian Chronicles, they're the first Christians. They're from the line of Japheth, and they were an empire which ruled before the Greeks and the Romans, and also they predate the Sumerians by 1,500 years. And this manuscript dates back to very ancient times. It is called the Chronicle of Longinus, which, for those of you that don't know who Longinus is, he is the Thracian soldier that pierced the side of Christ, and that having the blood of the Messiah drip into his eye, it was healed, his vision was restored, and he was able to witness the miracles of the unfolding supernatural events of that day, which affirmed the earth and the heavens, speaking out that Christ was truly the Son of God, and that the murder, the crucifixion of him, was something that God was not pleased with, even though it was without a doubt a fulfillment of Scripture and something that was ordained. The oracles, the prophecies, the events foreshadowed the murder of the Messiah. And so I'm going to share with you the book of Longinus, which most of you, again, are not familiar with. You do not know about it. And so we're going to go ahead and go into this, and this will be an incredible treat for you. Just a little background on Longinus. Longinus the Thracian is also known under the name Sidapes, known as Sidapes Matagus, which initial word means land giving. Also, I have to tell you that the individual who's working with us and has translated the Thracian Chronicles for me and provided me the material, he is not, English is not his first language. He's Swedish born, and he's a linguist, and he knows my great interest in the Thracian Chronicles, and so I am actually paying him and supporting him in his work because I'm interested in reading them. Not that I have the authority to publish them, because the material is owned by the Thracian Church, the modern Thracian Church, of which we've had the Bishop Savetin Garcia, Dr. Guide's brother, on with us, and have been speaking with them as to, when this material will be out for English-speaking audiences. But it has not been completed, and so. But even though I'm not able to share this in print, I have been given the blessing and the authority to to share them in audio. And so he was born in Serdica, modern day Sofia, in Bulgaria, in Thrace, but served as a soldier in the Roman army and became a high-ranking military leader. In 43 AD, Longinus led Roman legions and entered successfully the Britain's oldest city, Camaldome, today's Colchester, and shortly after that, Rome occupied the whole island. Longinus, who converted to Christianity, became a saint and was buried in Colchester, and some of his chronicles, written and rewritten into Latin, are were found there. And so, all right, we're going to go into the story. I just have to skip over some of the linguistic stuff, which there's a lot of footnotes with this material. I wish I could publish it for y'all, but do not have the authority. But at least you'll be able to hear the story. Chapter 1. I write to you, my son Theophil, regarding everything that you wanted to know when you were young. Remember your father Longinus, God's servant, over whom God showed mercy and saved him from death, despite he deserved eternal death. Now remember, my friend is not, English is not his first language, and so sometimes some of the translations sound a little funny, but you'll get the gist of the story, and that's what's important. Because he pierced the head of life with his lance and became unworthy of living. Me, who was raised with love and knowledge about the mysteries of the Son-giving Isus. Isus is the Thracian name for Jesus, Yahushua, I-S-U-S. And Dionysus is also a reference to the Son of God, which is something that most people don't know and don't understand. They think it's a pagan deity, when actually preceding the Romans and the Greeks, Dionysus was a reference to the Dion meaning God and Isus meaning Jesus or Yeshua or Yahushua. And so God, Jesus, or the Son of God. The God of our forefathers and the Son of Thrace did not recognize him while he was on the cross, a sacrifice for our sins. And like the last monster in the world, I pierced him, considering him to be a worthless slave who had the guts to go against Caesar. But it was me who was a miserable slave under sin and a slave to Rome, because I gave my life and my youth to an evil empire, being injured many times and blinded in the right eye because of the emperor's ideas. He who was not the Son of God, I killed in his name, the one who is the Son of God. And when I mocked him while he was hanging on the cross, he did not hate me, nor did he destroy me, something that I deserved at that time. Neither his blood cursed me when it ran in from the wound after I pierced him with my lance. But when his blood sprinkled my evil and blind eye, it was healed. A drop from his blood made me see, not only physically, but also spiritually. Yet in that moment, I saw the Son and the eternal Dion, the God of Thrace, the God of my forefathers, pierced by my spear, suffering because of me, the bearer of my life and my healing. Yes, this was the Son of God who came from his heaven for me, and I became his killer in the name of the emperor and his ideas of the slaves. Me, pitiful, blind being, why didn't I recognize him before so I could fight with my sword for him and die on the cross together, a glorious death leading to eternal life. But he, the emperor of emperors, instead of destroying me as would do the emperor of Rome in his place, he embraced me as his own son of arms and forgave me and bestowed me with honor and fame, something that was not suited for me, but only for one worthy of his own son. Chapter 2. And so, after 12 years of this prophetic event of my life, I am writing to you, my son, about these God's secrets. So, when you would be mature enough, you would be able to read and to remember and understand everything that I told you when you were a child. And these are the greatest secrets which God's Son Himself revealed to me in His mercy, secrets which are intended for God's chosen sons and daughters. Look, I toured with the Roman army around the whole world and all Madarics, and conquered victoriously many amazing and famous lands. Madarics means continents or countries. But today I write to you about another land which is most famous, namely the famous land of that Madaric of the Son of God, which will be soon revealed for the whole world. Now, I have to make mention that, and you can find this in my book, Paradise Sides of the North and Mount of the Congregation, that Longinus speaks about paradise at the North Pole, which is the land of Hyperborea, the land of ancient Thrace. It's called Thule. And he speaks about this place as if he's seen it and witnessed it. And so, I shared that material in Paradise Sides of the North and the Mount of the Congregation. But today I write to you about another land which is most famous, namely the famous land of that Madaric of the Son of God, which will be soon revealed for the whole world. So the worthy human sons and daughters may go in and out from it and live there till they will populate it once and for all, like all the rest of the Madarics in the world. Again, Madarics means country or continent or land. This Madaric is that land of dreams, the desired land, which in antiquity was populated by men and women of God before they visited today's known world. And while it was close to our world, there were still chosen travelers who crossed between it and the present day world. Then came the old flood and separated the worlds. There were still separated the worlds, the earthly waters, detached the Madarics from other Madarics, like the islands are detached. And so I believe this is speaking about a separation, much like what was spoken about as the separation of the continents. But the heavenly tables landed far away from the first Madaric. Therefore, they were totally lost. Some wise men used to say that the first Madaric rose up to heaven because humans were guilty and had fallen forever from the first Eden. If this was the case or not, only God knows, but it is written somewhere that during many years in deep antiquity and younger times, many travelers came again across this island. Nobody knows how or why, but it happened during unknown periods, through the seas, airs, waters, and lands. I want to make mention really quickly that in the writings of Abraham, it speaks about the city of Enoch and how when God brought the flood, he took up the entire city of Enoch, and that this became the foundation for New Jerusalem in the heavens. And, again, this is described, and that there were visitors. Enoch, uh, is supposed to come as one of the two witnesses of Revelation 11, but that the angels came down from the city of Enoch to interact with humanity. And even in the story of Abraham, when the three came to speak with him, they also reference that they are from the city of Enoch. And so it makes me wonder if Longinus is actually referencing that knowledge, which, most people don't know about. And wrote down secret words which would be understood only by the worthy and dedicated people. They told about the lands of the island, the Mataric, which they saw, about the cities and wonders, and about other great secrets that they experienced there. In time after a time and a half a time, the waters of the flood pulled back in stages, and the people from the old world started to discover other Matarics of the new world, the world of the Romana. And when the Romans assured in time the roads on land and sea, they started successively to colonize and to populate them. All right, this is interesting as well. I just recently spoke to an individual named Poppy who was telling me and talking to me about how the ancient cultures rediscovered what is why can't I remember it? The mud floods, Tartaria, the empire of Tartaria. And I believe that this is what it's talking about, because the Romans didn't create all of that ancient empire, but they dug it up and they began to repopulate and to utilize what was this ancient empire that had disappeared during the mud floods. And not just, the events of the flood of Noah's day, but that even the flood of what destroyed the first world age, and that those cities were made by the fallen angels and were highly advanced and had technologies which we don't understand even today. And so, I think that, this is a mention of that. And in fact, in the book of Navi, which I just released a portion of in one of my books on the antediluvian world, it speaks about how Orpheus, who was a Thracian priest king, he was led by the Son of God to find what were the materials that his forefathers, the children of Noah, had hidden and buried into the ground. And that he was led there, and that he, rediscovering that material, was able to, was taught the language of it and taught the ancient knowledge, and that he wrote it down and passed it on to future generations. And so this material, the Thracian Chronicles material, is rich with insight, and all of it speaks about these great secrets as well that are being revealed through this material. All right, continuing. The richness of these new lands should make the people richer, more free, and more happy. But alas, as God wanted to give his welfare to all people at the same time, both to the good and the evil ones, soon the evil one robbed the good one of their share for richness, freedom, and happiness. And because the evil one chose not to follow God and his law of wisdom and love expressed through the Son of God and the almighty word of creation, Isis, the Son. They lusted after the unjust law and felt satisfaction of enslaving and humiliating people through laws which served violation. And of course, we know that this is speaking about Lucifer and the third of the angels of the Most High God that rebelled against him, which I cover in great detail in this, the two books on my latest two books on the antediluvian world, the pre-Adamites and the antediluvian world, and the dragon lords, the antediluvian kings. If you want to know more of what I'm talking about, check those two books out. And therefore God made an oath before his righteous name that after the waters had pulled back, even the heavenly waters, and after the Mataric will come closer to Terrakia, like an island in which reigns justice, then only the worthy, the righteous, and the chosen who practice love, wisdom, and the good will populate it. That is once who embraced the Son of God. That is those who embraced the Son of God as their God, King, and Lord. I learned this when I also became a follower of Christ. These things were mentioned through many godly men in antiquity. Chapter 3. Therefore, I also write to you, my dear Theophil, because what God promised is also for you and your righteous descendants. That is to bring you to God's land, the city of God, which might even be that Jerus that descends among the people of his glory. And as you already know from the holy writings, the parallel land, the other one, which in the language of your wise ancient forefathers is called Terrakia. This is namely the land of the ancient Thracia, where was protected the open way to the first Mataric of Terrakia for long, faithful times. Therefore, the writing is true when it says, in Thrace is the root of Terrakia, where are the gates to God's Son, city of justice. I'll also say that in the story of the book of Ari, which is another one of the Thracian Chronicles, that it speaks about how the Thracian people came down and originally lived in Hyperborea, that they were a righteous people, and that they were also of much larger stature, according to the treasures and the artifacts that were found of these people, which, if you look up the Thracian treasures, it's incredible, the gold, the silversmith, and the work that they used to create, and that was found of them dating back 7,000 years, which again is 1,500 to 2,000 years before the Sumerian. And it shows that they were of a larger size. Not saying that they were giants and evil, but that they were just larger people, as were Adam and the first 10 generations. All right, continuing. In Thrace, the devoted or initiated come up and go down in the Mataric of the immortal and the anointed, because Thrace and Terrakia were initially one. And see, I inform you joyfully that in our time the Son of God, Christ, accomplished the great salvation for the chosen people from all human nations and kinds. Therefore, the angel who is guarding Eden withdrew his fiery sword through the sun god, the word Jesus, who is Christ, and the redemption of Adam's bloodline. The time already came when people will hear the sound of the archangel and the angelic pipes, and the gates of the city will again be opened in Thrace for all the chosen. And Terakia, the Matric of the anointed, got closer to this land, and there is a way, a path, secured by the chosen who already started to come and to populate it. All right, we'll be right back for final segment.
In a world where we are ridiculed for questioning mainstream narrative, it can feel like we are studying alone. So together with you, Sacred Word Publishing classes has begun. Are you interested in Biblical Hebrew, the Enochian calendar, extra biblical texts, or other esoteric topics? Join any class for free. Or do you have research you'd like to share with fellow truth seekers? We'd love to help you set up a class. As students, we also have an opportunity to be teachers, and whichever role you're settled into today, we'll be happy to study with you at swpclass.com. Email us at sacredwordpublishingllc@gmail.com with your class ideas, and we look forward to learning with you. See you in class!
From My Patriot Supply, our new sponsor. So today we're going to unbox it and show you what they sent us. We're facing an uncertain future, my family. The next few weeks will set the tone for the next 4 years. Do you really want to be caught unprepared if things suddenly take a turn for the worst? Well, you don't have to. You can start preparing today so you have enough emergency food, water, and other essentials on hand at all times, no matter what happens. It's best to have at least a 1-month supply of food and water for everyone in your household. You want long-term storage food that lasts up to 25 years, so it's ready whenever you need it. That's why we personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the go-to leaders for emergency preparedness, and they're the best source my family uses and trusts for our preparedness plan, and you should too. Right now, save $100 off a full 4-week supply of nutritious meals that supply 2,000 calories a day, delivered discreetly to your home. Saving $100 isn't possible to pass up, especially now. So go to preparewithzengarcia.com and get ready now. That's preparewithzengarcia.com. There's no time to lose. As a bookstore for truth seekers, it's our goal to make ancient manuscripts which were once held captive by secretive institutions available for public consideration. In our generation, where wisdom has increased, as Daniel the prophet foretold, we have access to many of the testimonies our early church brethren were persecuted for preserving. After being hidden for centuries, these manuscripts have been leaked from various sources throughout the earth, and it's our goal to gather these sources into printable form to make available for all who seek the ancient way. If you're looking to deepen your studies of the biblical narrative, find these ancient manuscripts and more at sacredwordpublishing.com.
All right, welcome back, everybody, for final segment. We are in the second hour covering the Chronicles of Longinus, which is one of the books, the one of 7 or 8 manuscripts from the Thracian Chronicles, which are not currently found in English, but I do and have been blessed to receive an English copy of this particular narrative. And so I'm just going to continue because I know we won't be able to get through it, but I'll share as much as I can. I hope that it is blessing you and that you are enjoying the story. God the Almighty gave himself a promise and hope for a new world in it, a world of justice, peace, and love for all who are worthy of the Lamb. But the days of Rome and the empire of Caesar are counted, because in it was found everything evil from the time of the creation of the world, and God will visit it in due time, the day of his great wrath. Therefore, even I was stimulated by God and found it necessarily to inform you in writing about everything that God allowed and showed me about the Mataric of Tarakia and God's famous city, where the chosen one from all of the human races will dwell. This is the new Noah's Ark, through which God himself will save all his faithful followers, those anointed who were chosen by the Spirit of God already before the creation of the world, and who will enter to God's holy city and his eternal glory. Amen. Now, again, for those that don't know what I'm talking about, this is without a doubt New Jerusalem. And that New Jerusalem is currently located above the vaulted dome of the earth. And that this is the place of paradise where the righteous dwell. And that in the book of Nicodemus, that when Christ descended down into Sheol and took Adam and his descendants back up into paradise, restoring them to their first estate, they found there Enoch and Elijah already dwelling there in what is New Jerusalem. And we see in Revelation 20 and 21 that the city comes back to the earth after, and the earth and the heavens are recreated when Christ comes to judge the all of everybody at the end of the second world age, before the millennial reign, and that it is in this city that the righteous dwell with him here on the earth for that 1,000 years of the Sabbath rest. All right, continuing. Chapter 4. And see how it happened when the Lord chose me to be his messenger of his great deed in the days when the portals to his city were opened again. I was quite young, and when I received Christ as my Savior during that sacred day, when I met him on the cross, I recognized him and was healed. After he died, the earth was shaking with horror, and the whole nature became stunned and darkened, and I pierced him. And immediately after that, the crowd standing before the cross dispersed, and a heavy rain started beating the earthly ground. The soldiers remained on their post, because there was no other option than to guard and curse the bad weather. Right at the cross stood a righteous man who was one of his disciples. He saw how my eye was healed through his wounds, from which his blood sprinkled my eye. And then he took quickly a cup and put it under the pierced wound, so he might gather the outpouring of this divine liquid. His name was Joseph. Joseph handed over the filled cup to another disciple called Johann, and together with some weeping women, he hurried back to the city. I was confused and my heart was broken. I grabbed Joseph's clothes and I asked him to tell me more about this righteous man on the cross, because my eye was healed through his blood. Joseph told me where he lived in the city of Arimathea and invited me to his home and told me that I could visit him any time that I wanted, because I had to guard my post and I could not leave my soldiers till I was replaced. He asked me for permission to remove the body of the deceased righteous man so he could bury him before the evening. I immediately sent a soldier to the city and asked for permission from the consul, telling him about the approaching sacred feast of the Jews, so that the body might be removed and handed over to his relatives after I verified his death. I did receive permission, and Joseph's people removed the body from the cross, which they carried out to his family's graveyard. By this, I was released from my post, and I then returned to the city. The following days, I could not sleep. I had fever, and I was very sick. So the authorities gave me a vacation so I could get well. I got well when I went to Arimathea to meet that man, Joseph. This occurred on the 7th day after they crucified Jesus. Joseph received me gladly in his home and told me immediately that Jesus proved him to be really the Son of God, because 3 days after the crucifixion, he was resurrected. In Joseph's eyes, I saw so much conviction and strong belief regarding this fact. So it was difficult for me to be skeptic or to doubt him. And myself, I already could see through my blind eye, which he healed, and which no doctor in the world could cure. Besides that, I could recognize in Jesus, who hung on the cross, my ancient God, the God of my forefathers, and had no intention to be a skeptic, because I was convinced by my own marvel. I just wanted to say that when you read the ancient Thracian chronicles, he was an ancient Thracian, or was a Thracian at that time. And having read the ancient accounts and being familiar with the ancient stories of this homeland, without a doubt, they had information about Christ, how he would be immaculately conceived, born of a virgin. He would die on the cross as the Passover lamb. Even what we have of the Thracian Chronicles, the book of Atamanua also reveals this, as does the other material. And so that's what he's speaking about. All who were present in the house of Joseph were emotional and eager, and said how they met Jesus again, alive, and how they spoke to him. When a man was among them and listened, he could not reject for a moment that this divine meeting had really happened. For me, in that moment, it was enough of proof that Jesus did resurrect. While I was a guest in Joseph's home, I was presented to two sisters, Maria, Mary, and Martha, and their brother, Lazar or Lazarus. They were also here as guests for several days, helping Joseph with the receiving and dispatching of a lot of people who were followers of Isis, who wanted to hear directly from their lips of the witness and about his resurrection. I was most impressed by the brother Lazar because he was old, but with great looks, a man who could express himself well. He was very gentle and good-hearted, interlocutor, so we came closer to each other word by word. Naturally, I asked him to tell me something more about Isis, and this is what he told me. Chapter 5. I am delivering to you Lazarus' own words as they were, because I was so impressed by them. Therefore, I remember what Lazar said word by word, as if he stood before me right now. He said, "See, Longinus, all brothers and sisters know me, and they know that I was dead when the Son of God, Isis, resurrected me from death. But not everybody knows that after the Son of God conquered death, I could not die for a century. Because it is given to man to die once, and after that judgment, God's judgment. The name of the man who gave me life is Isis, the anointed. I say a man because I thought that he was a man. But he was not a man. He just looked like a man, and because of that, we all believed that he was just a man. When he resurrected me, I understood that he is the Son of the living God, God himself, from God, and the very life. I asked him, Lazar, why are you so sure that you cannot die? Though he did not speak like a man having a normal discussion. He spoke in a way as if he had an inspired monologue, as a man who proclaimed God's message, or like a disciple from the ancient mystery. He preached as if I was one of his flock, one of his faithful listeners. Therefore, I could not interrupt him, because if I did, I would end his narration, led by this bright spirit, and the way I would miss something important which the spirit wanted to reveal to me. So I was quiet, and I listened, and Lazar continued his usual confession. My sister, Maria, presented me to him because he told her everything what she did in her life and revealed the secrets of her heart. He is a prophet, she said. Come and see him, because nobody spoke like him ever before. And so I went and I met him on a wedding where he and his disciples were participating. He was handsome, even beautiful, very clever, like a wise man. When he spoke to somebody, he radiated so much confidence and kindness and knowledge about everything, so you could listen to him for hours. I was wondering where he did learn all of this and who taught him, because we did not have such a rabbi who knew so much. I have listened to them teaching the law, but I have never seen someone similar to him. Therefore, I was in a hurry to invite him to my home and even to become his friend, because men like him are very rare. and even to become his friend. Because men like him are very rare, and who wouldn't like to become friends with such an educated and knowledgeable man? People said that he is royalty from the bloodline of the Israeli kings, but I was not sure if he would have time for me and my sisters, because he was always surrounded by many people and important people, and it was even difficult to approach him. People stood tight around him constantly, and all but known and notable people tried to invite him to their homes. But I was lucky because he was well disposed towards my sister Maria and Marta as well, as if he had paid more attention to them than normal. I thought that maybe he was interested in Maria because he was not a married man, and Maria was a virgin and very beautiful to look at, and not a few men paid her attention in more particular way. But it seemed that Maria, after Isis appeared in her life, did not show any interest in other men. Love is something great, and I thought that maybe she is really lucky if such well-educated and influential man would become her husband. This would be a great honor to the whole family. Of course, in those times, I had no idea who Isis really was, and I was naive and ignorant in human thoughts, because I was a loving brother who wished the best for my sisters and did not think as a spiritual man who sees things as others who were with Isis and who were more perceptible. One day, one of his disciples called Peter told me this: Lazarus, our teacher is from God, the promised, the anointed one, the branch from David, who will save us from our destroyer. We are prepared to die for him. All the prophets had witnessed that he will save people from slavery and from the sins of our fathers. God's Spirit is with him, and whatever he asks from God, from his Father, it will be given to him. He is the King of Israel and the prophet about whom it was prophesied in the Torah and the prophets. Are you with us, and are you prepared to follow him till the end? I didn't know what to say, so I exclaimed, well, why not? Those words from the brother Peter made me very confused, for it seemed to me that he was speaking of something which is dangerous, something against the authorities, something which I did not understand, and about something that I was not prepared to risk, that is, to risk my family. It sounded to me like a rebellion, something which was linked to the zealots who planned a revolt against Caesar of Rome. I felt like being stung by a wasp, but I could not imagine my sister bound to this man, no matter how much I liked him and no matter how much I admired him. No, I wanted the best future for my sister, and not being married to a rebeller. All rebels end up in similar way, hung on a cross or a spear, because nobody can be compared with Rome and its legions. Don't you think Isis didn't know this, being that intelligent and educated? I don't know about Peter, but among his disciples there are well-educated and lettered men like Pharisees, even a doctor. It's not possible that these people wouldn't know what madness it would be if they really would plan an armed revolt against Rome. Chapter 6. One day when my sisters were preparing supper, and when the disciples were out working, I stayed in private with Isis for a while. I used this opportunity asking him following: Teacher, people say that you are preparing war against the Caesar. Is this true? But Isis responded, Lazarus, what kind of thoughts is troubling your heart? Maria is safe because she chose the good share, the share of God's kingdom, and deeds which are given her from God. Don't you understand that I came to free my people and to give them abundance of life? Rome is doomed but will not fall by human hands. I did not come for Rome, but for the chosen. I came to give light to the world, and who follows me will not be in darkness anymore and will have the light of life. Do you understand this? Let's say that I did not understand, but his words were filled with peace and comprehension for my concerns, so I could not say anything more, but just said following. Teacher, I trust you, but I beg you, if your intentions towards my sister is unsecure, and if it depends only on you, so don't torment her heart because she loves you very much, and her heart would be broken if she felt herself deceived and abandoned. Jesus smiled and put his hand on Lazarus' shoulder, saying to him, Don't worry, Lazarus. Your sister knows me better than to think that God, the Father, sent me to look for a wife. I am promised to his virgin, Israel, and devoted to all people. But your sister is most prominent among them. I know that at the moment you don't understand what I am saying, but when God's Spirit will come to you, you will see through my words and you will understand. Don't worry. Therefore, you and your family are safe. If it was not, I myself would tell you that. But now, do not be concerned about anything, for I have much more important work to do than worrying about Rome and Caesar. I wanted to ask him more, but two of his disciples came to my home, and it was not suitable to talk before them. But I thought a long time what his words meant. Apparently, the relation between him and my sister was not of that character of which I was imagining, linked to a marriage or just habitual love, like between a man and a woman. But then, what was the relationship about? What other close relation could there be if not love relation between a man and a woman? Maybe I should ask my sister herself. After a couple days, when we were alone at home, I asked Maria what she is thinking of Isis, if she liked him as a man and if he was interested in her as a woman. She looked at me and started laughing, something which irritated me a bit because it made me uncomfortable, and I felt like a little boy who asked his mother why the men and women are kissing each other. You don't understand anything, isn't it? She said and hugged him. What do I don't understand? I saw when you kissed him, and once he kissed you on the forehead. I replied, confused. My beloved brother, this was not that kind of a kiss of which you are thinking. Yes, I love him, but not in this way. At least it is not allowed for me to love him this way. He is just not a man like others, a man who would belong to a woman and have a family. He is married to God's Spirit. He is not just a man. If you knew him like you know me, then you would understand. He does not think like other humans. He is something much bigger, which belongs to the whole world and to all people. I think that he isn't just a prophet, but he is rather from another world and not from this world. But he is God. I don't know how to explain it to you because even myself, I don't understand it. You've gone mad, I shouted. There are no such people in the world. There are people who are more educated, more intelligent than others, that are high-ranked people, yes, saints and anointed kings, and maybe even prophets. But there's not exist people who are gods. This is straight-ahead blasphemy. The God of Israel is one, and he is not human. He cannot be here among us because he dwells in the highest of the heavens. But you and I cannot see him, nor can we hear his voice. I don't know what is happening with you since you talk like this. Don't tell anybody about this, because you will bring shame and disgrace to our house, and then nobody will want to take you for a wife. Why, my dear sister, what are you short of in my house? So you started to imagine such things. Why your heart is ill. May God be merciful towards you, and may he find for you a worthy husband. Then you will get better, my dear sister. God have mercy on us and redeem my sister from this mad falling in love with this unreachable rabbi. Dear brother, I am not against you that you don't believe me and that you think I am in love and mad. I thank you for loving me and for your concern about me. If I was in your place, I would react in the same way. If I didn't see with my own eyes things which Isis is doing, which no human can make, but only God. For example, what things? Asked Lazarus. I want to know very much. with what things he did impress you so much? Well, for example, that he can walk on water in the sea like you walk on the road. He can speak to the water, the wind, and the storm, and they obey him, like soldiers who listen to their general. When he touches a leper, the sores are withdrawing and healed before our eyes. He can transform water into wine every time he wants to, and several times he's fed big crowds with some little pieces of bread. We'll have to leave it there, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the narrative. We'll pick it up in a different show, and I'll share the rest. Be blessed. Shalom.
Thank you everybody for joining us for this video and this broadcast. We appreciate all of you and thank you for your patronage. Please do like and subscribe and share with your friends. God bless all of you in your seeking.